So, Russell Wilson was just traded. This is a video that I never expected to have to make. I just didn't think it was going to be possible, especially when we had an entire season and basically 2 off seasons of both Wilson and Seattle saying that he has no desire to play anywhere else, he loves the city of Seattle, etc., etc., etc. And then especially when that trade is to Denver of all places, which I don't think Denver is really a bad team. It's not what I'm insinuating, but you think if Russell Wilson was going to leave Seattle, you'd want to go to a more win-now spot. And I don't know if the Broncos are in win-now mode. I just don't. Maybe they are. Maybe I'm miscalculating. I guess they did have a decent season with Teddy Bridgewater, of all people, leading the show, but it feels like even with Wilson, I think the Chargers will still be better. I think the Chiefs will still be better. So, I don't know. That AFC window, AFC division out there. I am a Seattle Seahawks fan, and I don't know that. I don't know. This trade is so very weird to me. It makes no sense for Seattle at all. I'm just gonna go over the details of the trade. Seattle gets Drew Lock. Drew Lock, useless. I mean, he's just not a quarterback in the NFL. He's just not. He's never gonna be a player in the NFL. He'll probably be cut at some point. Seattle gets Shelby Harris. I've never heard of this guy before. He's probably garbage because I've never heard of him before. Looking at his stats, last season he had 6 sacks, 49 tackles. For his career, he only has 22.5 sacks, which feels a little low. And he's also 30 years old. A trade like this indicates that Seattle wants to go into a rebuild, like tear it all down, build from the ground up. It doesn't really make sense to have a 30-year-old player on your team if you're rebuilding. So I have to imagine Harris is probably going to be traded at some point. Noah Fant. Fant is a young tight end. He's only 24 years old, so he kind of fits into that rebuilding window if that's the way things are going. But at the same time, I don't know how great he is. You know, he's okay. He's still young, but if you're trading Russell Wilson, you'd probably expect some elite players back, some top-tier talent, and neither Shelby Harris nor Noah Fant are top-tier talent. Seattle also gets 2 first-round picks. At the time that I'm recording this video, the exact years of those picks, I don't know what they are. However, with Seattle's history of drafting in the first round, I'm not going to expect much. The Seahawks do not do good with first-round picks historically. They usually do better with second-round picks. So I'm writing off those first-round picks. Those are not going to be NFL players. 2 second-round picks, and then a 5th-round pick. And then we also sent a 4th-round pick to Denver for some reason, which doesn't make sense because they're getting Russell Wilson. So I don't know necessarily why we sent that, but this trade honestly is just a disaster for Seattle. Especially because now you have questions like, what's going to happen to Bobby Wagner? He's probably gone. Tyler Lockett, he's probably gone. DK Metcalf is due a new contract. he's looking to be one of the top paid wide receivers in the entire league. He's made that clear. He thinks that he's a top 5 receiver in the NFL. He wants to get paid like it. Is he going to want to play for Drew Lock or Geno Smith? Probably not. DK Metcalf is my favorite player on the Seahawks right now, and I'm operating under the assumption that he's probably not going to stay with the team, which sucks. And it's just going to a point where it's like the Seahawks are going to become something that's completely unrecognizable. Because I've been, it just doesn't make sense. Because if this is a win now move, well, you have no pieces to win now. You have 2 dog shit quarterbacks, Drew Lock and Geno Smith. Neither one of them are starting caliber. You did not get any good players back. Like, maybe they're half decent, but they're not good. They're like, Noah Fant is okay. And like I said, this other dude, Shelby Harris, I've never heard of that guy before. Like, he's nobody. He's a nobody. And then the picks aren't going to matter. Honestly, they're not going to matter. It's just, under Russell Wilson's tenure, the Seahawks have been the second most successful team from 2012 to 2022. The Seattle Seahawks had the second most wins in the NFL, behind only the New England Patriots. So it's Patriots at the top, obviously. But then right below them was Seattle with Russ and Pete from 2012 to 2022. Obviously 2 Super Bowl appearances in that time. Only one of them resulting in a win, unfortunately. Which honestly isn't terrible. I think that Tom Brady and his tenure in New England has kind of skewed fans' ideas of what success looks like. A lot of fans have this idea that if a quarterback or a coach doesn't get multiple Super Bowl wins, that they're a failure. Whereas, like, winning the Super Bowl is the most difficult thing you can do. It's extremely hard. It's one of the hardest trophies in all of sports to win. For my money, I still think that the Stanley Cup is harder to win, but, that Super Bowl trophy is very hard to win. So just the fact that you got one and had 2 appearances is really good. And then the second most regular season wins in the entire league during Russell's tenure in Seattle. But there's definitely a lot of question marks around the team now, the future of the team. They're definitely not contending next year. Probably, 2, 3, 4 wins at most next season. But the problem is Seattle does not have any of their own picks. The Jets have Seattle's picks because they traded for Jamal Adams, who's been just dog shit. Jamal Adams is a terrible player. And that was a gamble that failed, and that probably contributed somewhat to Russell's decision to wanting to leave. I don't know, it's just a sad time. It's a sad time to be a Seahawks sports fan, or even a Seattle sports fan in general. I'm not a Seattle sports fan, but you have to imagine, if you're a Seattle sports fan, the Seahawks are going to be terrible for a decade at least. Going to be terrible. The Kraken are terrible. One of the worst inaugural seasons ever, especially compared to Vegas just a few years prior. The Mariners finally starting to look like they're going to be decent, a good prospect pool. Oops. Team's taken away. The season's going to be locked out. So they're not even going to play. Those players aren't going to develop. For me as a Pacific Northwest sports fan, the Blazers are terrible. They're going full on tank mode. I'm thankful at least Vegas is halfway decent, although they're sitting at 4th in the division right now. It's like all my teams have become terrible all at the same time, and as a sports fan, I'm feeling very depressed. To be truthful with you, I know a lot of you guys watch my NFL content. I don't know if if I'm going to cover the NFL next season. Like, I watch mostly to watch Seahawks games, and they're going to be unwatchable. So I'm probably not going to watch any Seahawks games until they get at least a half-decent quarterback in there. So I'm probably not going to watch any NFL games next season. That's probably what's going to happen. I have no interest in watching it. If the Seahawks aren't good, I'll just spend my time watching something else. So that sucks for my channel, but I'm not gonna, force myself to sit through something that's just not gonna be enjoyable for me. I don't know, overall this trade, it's puzzling. It's really puzzling. I want to see maybe if I can get some quotes. Let me look through, see if I can find anything like from the front office. Any quotes they've put out. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, here's this tweet. It says, not enough, nowhere near enough of a return for Russell Wilson. I agree with that. It should have been 3 or 4 first-round picks at the least. Yeah, just definitely not enough. Yeah, Seattle traded 2 first-round picks for Jamal Adams, but then only got 2 first-round picks for Russell Wilson. So it's like, is Russell Wilson worth as much as Jamal Adams? No, he's worth way more than Jamal Adams, so 2 first-round picks is not enough. Alright. And also, yeah, this is considered possibly the worst quarterback draft class of all time. This NFL draft, people are saying it's going to be the worst quarterback draft class in NFL history. So, terrible time to start going into a rebuild, because there's just nothing to replace him with. And yeah, somebody on Twitter pointed out that last season the Chicago Bears offered 3 first-round picks for Russell Wilson. So if we would just trade into the Bears last season, then we would have gotten a better return. And, and then this season nothing happened anyway. Let's see. And yeah, the fact that, Russell Wilson being traded before firing Pete Carroll is insane. Like, if Russell Wilson isn't happy with the front office, why aren't you getting rid of Pete Carroll? Pete Carroll's old. He's a fucking dinosaur at this point. So what is he even doing in that game? What's he doing? Get him out of the front office and keep Russell. But I think part of the problem is ownership at this point. Jody Allen just does not care. Jody Allen does not care. She's completely hands-off. It's the same way with the Blazers. She is one of the worst owners in sports, and honestly, Paul Allen's death has set back the Seahawks and Blazers more than anything else possibly could have. Paul Allen was the heart and soul of these teams, and his death changed a lot of the calculus going on behind the scenes. So I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. At least for me, I have Bayern Munich and the Golden Knights to root for. The Golden Knights are half decent, although not really great. I would say they're okay. I was expecting Jack Eichel to be a little bit better, but there's a lot of injury concerns. Bayern Munich just absolutely thrashed, Augsburg. I believe was at Augsburg, yeah. So that was fun, 7-1. But, I guess the Storm and the Sounders are good. I like the Storm. WNBA's fun. Sounders, fuck the Sounders. I'm a Timbers fan. Oh yeah, that's another thing for me. I'm a fan of the Timbers. The Timbers are gonna be terrible. Valeri left, club legend, he's gone. Andy Polo, the up-and-coming young player who actually finally had a decent season. Well, he's kicked out of the league because he hit his fucking wife. Depressing time for me as a sports fan. I hate making videos with this vibe, but I'm just in a terrible mood today now, and I don't know, maybe I'm just letting my emotions get the better of me, but this is probably going to be my last NFL-related video on the channel. At least for 2022. I think maybe I'll cover the 2023 season, but I really can't see myself covering football next season. Like, I just am not gonna have the stomach to watch it unless somehow, like, the Seahawks trade for, like, a good quarterback somehow. And I've seen people saying, oh, they should get Carson Wentz. If the Seahawks get Carson Wentz, I'm going to drive up to Seattle, climb to the top of the Space Needle, and jump off of it. Don't you dare bring Carson Wentz into this team. He's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. Dude sees ghosts coming out of bed every morning. Jesus Christ, Carson Wentz. Yeah, I don't know. I've been a fan of the Seahawks since, I think, 2011 was when I started, like, seriously paying attention to sports at all. Probably 2011. And I think this is probably the lowest point I have felt as a fan of the team, so I don't know. Anyways, sorry for the tone of this video again, but it would feel disingenuous to not talk about this. Yeah. If you liked the video, leave a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this trade, what you think about my utter misery and loss of meaning in my life. I'm gonna go shoot myself in the head. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.